who are you right now?
That's right.
Who are you right now?
That's a true statement, man. And I look at it as psychological warfare. And that's where I started learning that life is one big psychological warfare that you play on yourself. You play on yourself, man. The most important conversation I ever had is with myself. And the shit I was telling myself was so fucked up, it was so wrong, it was so misguided. And other people start to write that dialogue for you also. And it starts to be what you say to yourself every single day. And I started creating a whole nother warfare, a whole nother battle started becoming. I was like, oh, hang on a second, guys. You have these tools. You have these tools. Your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles. It was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go to where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life versus woe is me, poopy pants, kick a rock down the street mentality. It was, God just hooked you right the fuck up. He hooked you right up, man, with the perfect place. You were training. For the first 18, 19, 20, you were training for this stuff, man. You had the advantage of everybody else versus, my God, they're so above me. They came from a great family. Mom and dad love them. They didn't stutter, they didn't struggle. No, man, your struggle is what made you who you are now. So I started flipping this into a whole different, I started being a master of what I was scared of. I was scared of my mind. And I became literally a master of that mind. And that's what from now on, it sets me apart from most people. I started diving into that.
Well, that is a big part of the stories.
I used to look at my life from a different vantage point. And when you're in all the muck, and you're just walking in muck and walking in muck and walking in muck, you don't see that if you look off to the fucking left of the muck, there's a sidewalk, brother. Get off of it. You have your head down looking in this muck. Once I saw the sidewalk, got the sidewalk, I got a little break. And I got a different vantage point. And then from the sidewalk, I found a cliff. Then I found a mountain. I got way up high on top of my life and looked back down on it and said, okay, I got to figure this out, man. I'm not going anywhere. I'm starting to lie. So when you have a messed up foundation, I started lying about everything. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be accepted in some society of life, some social society. And I was like, man, this isn't the right way. I messed up here. I messed up here. I messed up everywhere. And so I realized the worst thing that happened to me is I lost myself. I never had myself. I never found myself. I had no self-esteem. So I knew through working out and through learning, because it took a lot for me to learn also, I started finding self-esteem. Once I found that, that's when doors started opening up. I stopped caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, are you gonna make fun of me? I stopped caring about that. And that's when my life started really changing for me, slowly but surely.
That's such an important point when you're talking about the working out, because a lot of people, when they think about working out, they think of it as being a physical thing.
Right, no. I did it for mental.
Yeah.
People always say, my God, like, no. Don't look at it like, I didn't care about losing weight. I didn't care about being the fastest person. I wasn't making the Olympics. I wasn't going to pros. I could barely read and write when I was in a junior in high school. I wasn't going anywhere. I saw working out as a way for me to build calluses on my mind. I had to callus over the victim's mentality. So I watched these movies. I talked about Rocky last time I was on here. I always equated training to mental toughening. Like, it always looked brutal. People waking up early and doing all these things, and it looked horrible. I was like, wow, man, I gotta start doing that. Not to get better, bigger, and stronger, but that is what's gonna build me. That looks uncomfortable. That looks brutal. And getting up early, I don't wanna do that. So I made this long list of things I don't wanna do. And through that, I found myself. I started, I'm like, you guys aren't doing this shit in high school. You guys aren't getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, running over here in this golf course. So I started seeing myself very differently than the average human being. I was like, hang on a second. I have something they don't have. And that's when I started to develop these things through working out. It was this great, never-ending work ethic. And through work ethic, I developed self-esteem.
Now, is this something that you learned? Is this something you learned yourself from exercise yourself? Or is this something you had read or heard about? Like, what made you equate doing this and doing these difficult things physically to mental toughness, to being, this is the discipline that you need in order to get your life out of the situation you're in?
So I never read anything. I could barely read, so right. I wasn't reading back then. I watched a lot of movies, and I was really big into visualization. And I always equated working out to struggle. And I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I got to start facing the struggle, and I got to be mentally strong for the struggle. So that's why I started coming up like, I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for like to lift 400 pounds. And I found out on my own pretty much, is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. You start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. That's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. You know, I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life.
It's a crazy thing to figure out, though. It's like that you figured it out, and you didn't just figure it out, you embraced it. Like when you were talking about your senior year of high school, when you're talking about your mirror being your accountability mirror, like you had a radical shift. Mm-hmm. Like you just decided to not be a fucking loser, right, and to start tightening up and start holding yourself accountable and get ready for things.
So I had this my whole life. I mean, I don't know if people believe in God or what. I don't care what you believe in. There's been this unrelenting voice in my head. We all have this voice. It's the right or wrong voice. And a lot of times that voice guides us into comfort. And my voice guided me into comfort a lot. But I have this other voice I heard my whole life saying, hey, motherfucker, what are you doing? Nah, man, we got to go over here. We got to go over here to that rock pile over in the fucking corner where nobody's at. That's where victory's at. We're over there in that corner. So this voice was giving me all these answers. Now, I wasn't a real smart kid growing up, but I had this crazy voice in my head saying, over there is where the fucking answers are. And I didn't want to listen to it because over there was pain. Over there was me looking in the mirror. Over there was me being accountable for all these things I went through my life. Even though people put them on me, it's now mine to own. And I didn't want to go over there by myself, but I had to. And this voice was guiding me there. It's God, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it was in me.
Do you think that's just what when you separate yourself from your ego and what your insecurities and all like if you were giving yourself advice, you would say that's what the thing is to do. So do you think that's what it was, like your subconscious or you stripped away from all the bullshit when you couldn't lie to yourself because it's a voice in your head?
That's exactly it. It's exactly it.
Because it knew.
It knew. I was a character. I was trying to find myself through a character. I was making different hairstyles and sagging my pants, and I was